Hi, everybody. My name is Howard Sample, and I'm the director of the Life Crafting program. Our specialty in life crafting is guiding individuals in life career transitions to clarify their passion, their purpose, their unique genius, and then craft an ideal business where you make money doing what you love. Today, I'm going to be focusing on a very, very important area for a lot of people. The title of my talk today is How to Overcome Fears, Doubts, and Build Unshakable Confidence. Now, you might not think that in just 30 minutes or so, it's possible to learn the tools or skills to accomplish all this. But I can assure you that if you watch this carefully, take notes, absorb this, and start to apply what you will learn today, you will be very, very surprised to see how far reaching you're able to go in this just with these simple principles and simple practices. So, I want to start out with talking about feelings and experiences in life. There are some very basic misconceptions that people have about feelings and experiences and the stories that we tend to make up about them. But I want to begin with a very basic, something very, very basic. When you have a feeling or an experience, it's going to actually live inside you. It's actually going to be fundamentally a body level feeling or set of sensation. You're going to feel it in some way. And you have a fundamental decision to make with regard to this. You can either feel what you're feeling and let it be exactly as it is without any resistance to it. In other words, just allow it, feel it, enjoy it, embrace it, and experience it as it is, or resist it, push it away, try to medicate yourself or numb yourself out in some manner, or maybe distract yourself from it because you want to feel good and you want something to be pleasant. And in our society, I would say the majority of people just gravitate to pleasure and avoid pain or discomfort in any form that exists. But in reality, that you pay a price for this. So we want to look at the two different sides to this. So if you allow the experience to be exactly as it is, you don't resist it in any way, and you actually get to know this feeling or sensation wherever it may live and whatever it may be, it's going to evolve and it's going to dissipate. Why is that? Because all sensation, all feelings, all experiences are energy. That's all there is in this universe is energy. We've spoken about that before in one of my earlier presentations on the law of attraction. So if you allow something to be exactly the way it is, with no offer to resist it or avoid it or push it away, it will dissipate. Also, the advantage of feeling something fully allows you to be present with it and engage with it. Maybe this feeling is a gift in some way. Maybe there's a message here. Maybe there's some value or something to be learned. Maybe it's a little bit like the little red warning light on your car's dashboard that is sort of flashing at you to get your attention, to pay attention to something that's going on in your life, whether a physical issue, condition, your body wanting something, needing something, or maybe it's something emotionally that you're needing that you have, maybe avoided and you haven't really looked at. So, so this is a branch point or a decision point that I want you to experiment a little bit over the course of, say, the next week with whatever you're going through in life, whether it's anxiety or fear or worry or doubt, whatever form it takes, and just experiment by allowing yourself to feel it. Don't avoid it. Don't push it away. Close your eyes, drop down on your body, and allow it to be. Um, See what happens. Notice, treat it as an experiment. See what actually happens. What you are going to discover is if you go to the other extreme and you fixate on something. Let's say you're worried or fearful of something, and you fixate on it. You put a lot of attention on it. Um, what invariably occurs is that it becomes stronger and it becomes more of an issue in your life than maybe it started out being at the beginning. Well, why is that? Because attention is the number one creative force. When you put attention on something, wherever you place your attention, that thing is going to grow and get bigger and get stronger. And in many cases, the preoccupation with worry or fear or doubt or foreboding of something can actually become all consuming. Like I'm sure you've either yourself or people you've known, they just become overwhelmed with a worry or fear and they can't think of anything else. It's just overwhelmed them. Well, this comes about as a result of attention. Attention is the number one thing. Now I want to move on to another aspect of this, which is extremely important um, in our lives. What invariably happens when we have some experience, like maybe we have an upset with a friend or a loved one, or we have something that doesn't go the way we want to, and we have some sort of reaction to it or a feeling about it. Could be anything at all. Um, there are two things that occur. One, we have the feeling, the experience, and then invariably within a few seconds, our mind starts to manufacture a story about this experience. It's automatic. It's absolutely totally automatic. It's part of human nature. It's not even a decision or a conscious decision or choice. A story comes up and basically it's our mind creating this scenario of what this experience means. It's telling us the meaning of this or the importance of this or why it happened or what it's et cetera, what the meaning is. But here's what gets really interesting. For the vast majority of people, they actually believe their story. They make up a story. They don't know they made up the story. They think the story is part of the experience when in fact it isn't. It's actually made up. And then they believe their story and they forget the experience. The experience fades, like all things do, but oftentimes the story remains. And as you give it more energy, more attention, and more credence, more believability, the story invariably becomes a dominant narrative in your life. It becomes kind of explain why things are the way they are and what the limits are, what the problems are, and what the future will bring. And it just becomes literally a whole drama. And I'm sure if you look closely, you'll be able to recognize this particular pattern. Now, it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with creating stories about our experience. But what is important is recognizing that we are making up a story and that the story is just a story. It's arbitrary. It doesn't have any intrinsic meaning of its own. What if you could recognize the story, separate it out from the experience, think of it as just kind of a nice little made up thing, and it's kind of there, and then go back to just feeling the feelings and experiencing them and allowing them to be, minus the story, and then allowing that to dissipate or shift it in some way. And so I'd like you to experiment with this a little bit. And as much as you're able to, notice the stories you're making up every day. Oftentimes, many times through the day, something happens and you make up a story about it. It's not that the story is automatically wrong. But it is just a story. And by believing it, it's going to take you down a path which is not necessarily the most beneficial or the most empowering to you. I would say that the one major aspect of personal mastery in life is this single ability to notice the body felt experience you're having, the feelings you're having, letting them be as they are without any interpretation or explanation or story. And then if story arises, just notice it and let it be there. This ability to do this, which is no small potatoes, this is actually a gigantic skill. Why? Because it deviates so strongly from the norm. It deviates so strongly from how we generally are, our default patterns or default habits of the way we are. But as you begin on this journey of awakening, awareness, mastery, recognition, connection, feeling, another world, I promise another world will open up to you. And that's what we are about in Life Crafting. We're not only here to help you create a great business where you can make great money and do good work in the world. We're also working with you on all the different levels of your awareness, of your consciousness, of your makeup, and helping you grow personally and spiritually and integrate that awareness with your professional life, with your business life. So that's something to keep in mind. Um, Noticing also narratives and stories that you've acquired in the past, how they run you, how they're a part of your reality, and maybe getting a little bit into questioning them, just asking questions and not jumping to an automatic belief about that something is automatically the way that it is. How can you gain the mastery that I'm speaking about? What's a method or recipe? Well, you need to be able to get into some form of a practice. What I mean by a practice, like the way the word is used, like a spiritual practice, something that you can do consistently. You also want to have some guidance in your life, whether that's informal in the way of aware and awake friends around you, or whether you're part of some sort of support community or support group that can remind you of these principles and practices as you're going along. That's very important because I don't think it's very realistic for somebody all on their own with no support system to be able to make these kind of profound changes quickly and easily by yourself. That's what we are about, and that's what we make available to you. It all starts here on in our Facebook group by just asking questions, sharing your experience, uh, and being open to receiving support and empowering feedback. That it all starts there. Now, the next area of this that I want to drill down into a little bit further is the subject of emotional triggers that are central to this topic. We go through life and things happen. Sometimes things occur that might, on one hand, seem rather innocent, and yet we get triggered. Something about them triggers us. Maybe a person says something to us in a conversation, and we're upset by it, even though, on later reflection, we realize that the person didn't really have any, ill will or intention to be hurtful to us, and yet we find that we're reactive, and then maybe even later that day or the next day we're still upset about it. What is that? Well, we call that an emotional trigger, and emotional triggers are part of life. They're just natural to being human, but it's important to understand what they are and what they do and what are the consequences of emotional triggers. Well, we have a lot of unhealed wounds in our subconscious. There are various different things that have happened to us through the years, many of which are just not fully resolved or healed. And so when a situation comes up that it triggers us, it's essentially a reminder that, oh, here's that thing that happened a while back that we've never really addressed, we've never really looked at it, and we've never really healed it completely. So, in actuality, an emotional trigger is a gift. Why? Because it's reminding us of something that's still remaining unhealed, that's there to resolve and heal and complete. So that is no longer going to become an issue for us in our life. Okay. But what most people do is they just react and they get angry and they get, whatever they do, and then, oh, it subsides and that's the end of it. And they're happy it's all over. And then they forget about the whole thing. Well, that's fine, but it doesn't really resolve the trigger. It doesn't eliminate or heal the element of the trigger. And so What I want to encourage you to start to do is notice when you're getting upset, whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. And whatever your thoughts are, remember our story. They're just story. So we're not really concerned here with the story, what you believe it means and why it happened, et cetera, but just begin to notice the triggers and notice the feelings and notice whether they're similar or familiar to you from the past. Maybe do some journal writing about this, or maybe talk to a caring and loving friend or colleague who is neutral. You know, they don't have any axe to grind or viewpoint, and there can be just there for you, just present with you to give you feedback. Or you can share with us here, and we can arrange a little private chat about it to discover it. I mean, to explore it further. Okay. So what happens? Let's just take two extremes. What happens if you don't do any of this and you just move forward in your life, pursuing your goals, pursuing your business, pursuing whatever you want, relationships, and you have all these emotional triggers? They're all there. Actually, what happens is that you run the risk of actually being what I sometimes describe as an emotional pinball machine, which is really somebody who just goes bing, 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 and you're in reaction to things, a lot, and you're not really creating life deliberately. You're not creating life from your own choice, your own inner truth, your own inner choices. You know, deliberate is a key word for us. Without any emotional mastery, it's going to be hard to move forward, to have the life you want, to achieve the goals you set, to have the relationships you'd like to have, and the financial success, because you're in reaction a lot of the time, or in some areas where it's important. Spirit is always working in your life. And if some particular trigger is coming up, there's a very good chance that that trigger at this time is there for a reason, because it's a form of tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, take a look at this. It's important to heal this so that you don't have to keep going through this over and over again. Now let's move on to our next major topic for today, which is the subject of beliefs. We're going down a level here. We've been looking at, emotions, feelings, experiences, resistance, avoidance, emotional triggers. Now we want to look at more of what I call your operating system in your biocomputer. So your biocomputer is really kind of like your regular computer, only that the programming code is not C++ or JavaScript, it's beliefs. Beliefs becomes the code. And your code or your beliefs, in most cases, was written or programmed early in life and usually at a pre-verbal level. And once beliefs are programmed, they become your fixed operating system unless you reprogram those. And this is difficult because no one usually gives you a debugging tool when you're 5 or 6 or 8 or 10. And the beliefs by that point in time have already likely become rather transparent to your conscious mind, more operating subconsciously, so you may not even know that they're really there. But you will know what you are experiencing from beliefs. So beliefs is the code, and as we understand, code generates further life experiences. So the way it works is beliefs create experience, and experiences reinforce the correctness of the belief. Think of it as a loop. And what this happens, belief, experience, and then experience back to beliefs, a closed loop. What winds up happening in this scenario, as the beliefs become stronger, they become reinforced. They are perceived to be correct and validated. And then they become absolute truth that is never questioned, never considered, evaluated, or questioned. It's literally the background of reality as you know it and as you see it. Sometimes beliefs are formed by people telling you things, what to believe or what is correct to believe, and for whatever reasons you accept what they tell you. That could be a professor in college. It could be a friend, a family member, a teacher. It could be anyone. But this, once again, does not put you in the driver's seat of being deliberate in choosing or creating your beliefs. If you don't choose your beliefs deliberately from yourself, then you are operating out of some other operator's manual, you could say. And then, of course, you may be very surprised or very shocked about the experiences you wind up having when then, unless you explore what is the connection between what am I believing and what am I experiencing and making the connections. Okay, so um, while it is difficult to change beliefs at the subconscious level, it is certainly not impossible. In life crafting, we have some extraordinary tools for doing exactly that. And once you learn the methods that we teach, you literally become a personal master of yourself in terms of what you're believing and the consequences. We also teach you how to go backwards from what you're experiencing and what beliefs are creating that experience, kind of like reverse engineering the process to see how did this all start? How did this all begin? And how can I change it? Once you do experience changing a belief and you see the ripple effects, like the pond, like the rock in the pond and the ripples, and you will never, ever again think of beliefs the same way. And you will never, ever think of your experiences as being and your patterns being fixed and unchangeable. You will gradually move to the more to the place of like Neo in the Matrix movie, when you may recall that all reality is this sort of plastic, malleable plastic reality, and that he can point his finger at it and it sort of divides and breaks up. You move more and more into that kind of realm of really, really seeing reality. Um, One of the things comments I want to make here is a lot of what is going on in the world today, a lot of the strife and the conflict and the divisiveness and dissension that we're experiencing in our country and our world, all comes back down to beliefs. What are you believing? Is that what you want to believe? What are the consequences of believing that? Have you checked in to see down deep whether this is something that's truly core, it's truly something that is real to you in your reality, or is it something maybe that was given to you with some very, very intense, strong uh, emotional fervor, telling you that this is correct because of X and because of Y and because of Z, and having like a whole narrative and story telling you have to believe this, then you jump on the bandwagon, and now all of a sudden your whole life is completely controlled and seized by this deep, intense emotional narrative, and you have forgotten all of the core principles and values that you used to live by. So I am in the final stages right now of creating a video series, on this topic. So stay tuned for that. It'll be some big announcements on that shortly. Um, so the bottom line here with beliefs is that you can learn to become skilled with them, and you can learn how to connect the dots between your feelings, your experiences and your beliefs, and become masterful. But again, you cannot do this just from standing by. You have to take some action and willingness to learn. So what I'm going to be doing here after my presentation today is I'm going to post in the comments section a simple belief article, simple belief exercise that will get you started in this journey of exploring and looking at beliefs. And I really want to strongly encourage you to do this exercise. You can do it privately if you like, or if you're willing to post your responses here as a comment, then I will be happy to comment there and support you further in your exploration. We do not take the viewpoint in life crafting that certain beliefs are right and other beliefs are wrong. We don't place value judgments on beliefs, whether they're right or wrong, good or bad, because that would be rather absurd if you think about it, since any judgment on a belief would just simply be another belief. There's it's no value really in doing that. So again, it's engaging. If you're willing to engage, if you're willing to connect with us, whether here or wherever privately, we're happy to help. Okay. Now let me move on to our last topic for today, which is maybe our juiciest one that I think are people are going to really love, which is the subject of building unshakable confidence. How to build unshakable confidence. I'm going to give you here an 8-step recipe for doing this. And I promise you that if you take all these 8 steps I'm going to share with you today, and you do it with diligence and discipline and patience, and again, a good support system around you, you will succeed. This recipe is not some silly fly-by-night idea. It's something that we've used before very, very successfully, and it's real. Okay, let's get started. So the first step in our recipe is to create a goal that's important to you, something that you're committed to achieving. And in our framework, a commitment means that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get that result. That's the measure, a realistic measure of commitment. Step 2, create an action plan and start taking action, making key promises. They could be small promises or they could be big milestones along the path. Always see the result in stages and steps. See it as a journey and break it down into doable steps, manageable and doable steps, so that you can experience the win and the success along the way, even if the steps are baby steps. Baby steps add up to large forward leaps. Get a support buddy or join some type of support system. Do not attempt to do this alone. It is not realistic to do this alone. We all have our, individual distractions in life that pull us away. We have various things in life crafting that can provide you with support. Contact us if you'd like to learn about them. Okay, step 3. Each time that you succeed with a promise or a milestone, celebrate and reward yourself. This is extremely important, not to be taken lightly. You want to have a real celebration, and you want to do something special that feels good, so that your subconscious mind, your feeling self, actually gets that you did something meaningful and some really good result happened. Step 4. Each time you don't get what you set out to do, which is, of course, inevitable, acknowledge your effort. Do not make yourself wrong and entertain a story that you screwed up or you're stupid or you're this or that. Acknowledge your effort, identify what you learned from the experience and the changes that you will now make. If you can allow yourself to see what changes to be made and learn from them and put in those adjustments or corrections, that the normal process is such that you're going to continue to do better and get further along and make progress. Stay focused and use your support system wherever you need to. Do not be a lone ranger in this. Step 5, continue feeling your increased confidence level as you make progress towards your goal. In other words, pause and notice yourself feeling more empowered and more confident, even if those steps are having small stages or incrementally. Do not discount them. Consider them to be important. Step 6, if you get bummed out, then it's time to take a look at beliefs and emotional patterns. And once you shift those things using the various tools that are available, then you're then able to get back on your bicycle. So the old saying of like, if you fall, oh, just get on the bicycle and keep going, that's generally good advice. But what's missing in that advice is to notice what you're learning and make the changes so that you can keep building your momentum. Okay. Step 7, share your successes and learning experiences with friends and family, and marshal the support of a group of people. Don't be alone. Do it with others. Do it in conversations and in community with others, because it's the dynamic of relationship and the support and communication and feedback and accountability that ultimately will make the difference for you. And the last step, step number 8, is to use the law of attraction and mindfulness to continue attracting your desired experience. If you're not too familiar with that, or you're not really fully up to speed, I just did a video literally last week. It's still here on Facebook that will brief you on all of the super powerful methods that we have, on those areas. So I want to strongly encourage you to review that. In fact, review that video anyway, and then use that one in conjunction with this one, because they dovetail together really, really beautifully. Okay, so now we're at a point today where I want to pause and ask you, what are your important takeaways from what I've shared with you today? What are you noticing? What things are new that you maybe didn't really know before, that is a kind of bubbling up in your awareness? You're seeing some new things. What are some of the things maybe you've kind of known a little bit before, but then today they sort of got reinforced or strengthened or clarified in a bigger way? What are some of the things that are getting lit up by this? In other words, maybe you're sort of getting more connected in to something going on for you right now that you're really a struggle or a challenge, and you're realizing, okay, here's this thing that keeps happening. I want to resolve this, and maybe there's some tools here that I can use to really make that happen. I want to hear from you. Post comments here right below our the video, in this thread. Let me know your takeaways. Let me know what you're learning. Let me know if there's something maybe that I didn't cover that you really had hoped I would cover. And I'm happy to give you some support in those areas. And I'd like to know what you also feel about applying these tools and getting some support in your life in these areas. What would that mean to you if you had that, and what kind of changes would occur, do you think would occur, or that you would want to occur? Now, I want to make also a special offer to everybody watching this today to get in touch with me to schedule a discovery session. And what is a discovery session? Well, it's going to be a one-to-one private session that we do on Zoom, where we're going to get to know what's currently going on in your life, where you are, what you need, where you're challenged, what breakthroughs are you seeking to have. And then I am going to give you the benefit of my many years of experience in creating breakthroughs, and also what are resources we have available in life crafting that may be of value to you. Some of you may not know that I'm a master astrologer with over 30 years experience in using a psycho-spiritual approach to astrology. And that's another whole dimension which you can explore with me if you like. Once you get in touch, we can discuss that. Okay. So I really want to help you create the breakthrough. The discovery session is normally $297, but if you are here watching this, or even in the recording, and you get in touch with me by this weekend, it's not an offer that's forever, but if you can get in touch with me this weekend, then I would be able to accommodate you and we can schedule. It's only going to be available for five or maybe 6 people that I have room for right now in my calendar. The last thing I want you all to know is that we are developing a series of very affordable courses. I think I may have mentioned this before. So we're going to have one on the law of attraction and mindfulness, and we're also going to have one on the topic that I'm sharing about today on personal mastery with beliefs, emotional patterns, and and all the belief work. And so, in that spirit, we're looking for people who maybe want to be part of our pilot group. So if this is an area of interest for you and you'd like to really master this area, you can post a PM, you can send me an email, and we can talk about it. But please act quickly because we have very limited time and there are very limited spaces for our upcoming pilot. Be absolutely sure to do the exercise that I posted here in the comments. You're going to get tremendous value from this. And I'm super excited to just share with you, to share this work and to support you really in any way I can. So also coming attraction for next week. Many of you indicated in our poll that you're interested in tools for clarifying your life purpose and unique genius. That's going to be our topic for next week. So be on alert for that. And it's always going to be Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific. We're aiming for that time each week to do our new presentation. All the videos that have been done so far are all available here in our group, so you can see them. You can review them several times if you like. You can invite friends and people to come into our group to see them. We want to build our community, so please share as much as possible. So I'm thrilled to be able to do this and look forward to hearing from you and continuing our dialogue further. Have a fantastic day and speak to you soon.